Emma Carter adjusted her blazer, took a deep breath, and stepped into the dimly lit conference room. The scent of polished wood and expensive cologne filled the space. At the head of the table sat Daniel Hayes, the man who held the power to change her life. "Emma," he said smoothly, standing as she approached. "I appreciate you staying late." Emma offered a polite smile, setting her leather portfolio on the table. "Of course, Daniel. I wanted to go over the strategic proposal before tomorrow's presentation." Daniel's gaze lingered on her, assessing, dedicated as always. "That's what I admire about you." He gestured toward the seat beside him instead of across from him. Emma hesitated before obliging. She had worked at Evercrest Marketing for 8 years, climbing the ranks through sheer determination. Yet, despite her long hours and consistent results, she remained just another executive on the floor. The upcoming promotion to senior director was her shot at breaking through. She had paid her dues. She had earned it. "You've been here longer than most," Daniel said, pouring himself a drink from the crystal decanter on the table. "And I'd say you're the strongest candidate for the promotion." Emma straightened, anticipation fluttering in her chest. "That means a lot, Daniel." He handed her a glass, though she hadn't asked for one. "You remind me of myself when I was younger, hungry for success, willing to do whatever it takes." She took the glass but didn't drink. She had heard whispers about Daniel's reputation, how he cultivated loyalty in ways that blurred professional lines. Sophie had warned her, but Emma dismissed it. She was a naive. "I know what this role means to you," he continued, swirling his drink. "And I think you'd be perfect for it." He let the words settle before adding, "But you understand that leadership isn't just about talent. It's about trust, alignment, relationships." The weight of his words pressed against her. He wasn't being subtle. Emma maintained her composure, choosing her response carefully. "I agree. Strong professional relationships drive success." Daniel smirked, taking a slow sip. "Exactly." He leaned in slightly. "Which is why I want you by my side at Friday's executive gala. It'll be a great opportunity to showcase your leadership presence." A gala. Not a business meeting. Not a strategy session. Emma's stomach tightened. The request wasn't inappropriate on the surface. Executive events often blurred the line between professional and social. But the way he framed it, the way he looked at her, left little doubt. "I'd be happy to attend," she said, keeping her tone neutral. His smirk deepened. "Good. I'll send you the details." He raised his glass. "To new opportunities." Emma hesitated before clinking her glass against his. The sound sharpened the silence. Later that night, Emma arrived home to find Mark, her husband, on the couch, laptop open, eyes scanning numbers on the screen. "Still working?" she asked, setting her bag down. He looked up and smiled, rubbing his eyes. "Trying to finalize a client proposal." "How was your day?" Emma hesitated, busy, prepping for the big presentation. She had never lied to Mark before. Omitting details wasn't quite lying, she told herself. He closed his laptop, stretching. "I know how hard you've been pushing. That promotion is yours. They'd be idiots to pass you up." Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, I hope so." Mark stood and wrapped his arms around her. "No hoping. You're the best at what you do." She rested her head against his chest, guilt creeping in. Would he still think that if he knew the compromises she might have to make? Mark kissed her forehead. "Let's order in. You deserve a break." She nodded, but her mind was already elsewhere. On Daniel's gaze, his smirk, the silent proposition woven into his words. She told herself she could navigate this carefully, take what she needed without losing herself. But deep down, a whisper of doubt curled around her confidence. This was only the beginning. The night of the gala arrived faster than Emma anticipated. She stood before her full-length mirror, adjusting the sleek black dress she had bought specifically for the event. The fabric clung to her figure, sophisticated yet undeniably alluring. It was a calculated choice, professional enough to justify, but elegant enough to be noticed. Mark entered the bedroom, pausing as he took her in. "You look incredible," he said, stepping closer. "Big night." Emma turned, forcing a smile. "Yeah, executive gala. It's a networking thing." Mark's brow furrowed. "Didn't know you had to go to these." She shrugged, reaching for her earrings. "It's part of the job. Good exposure." He studied her for a moment, as if sensing something unspoken. Then he nodded. "Well, don't let them keep you too late." He kissed her cheek. "Have fun." Fun. That wasn't the word she would have chosen. The event was held at an upscale hotel, the ballroom bathed in golden light. Crystal chandeliers shimmered overhead, casting reflections on the polished marble floor. The hum of conversation, clinking glasses, and distant laughter filled the space. Emma scanned the room, catching sight of Daniel near the bar, effortlessly charismatic in his tailored suit. When he saw her, a slow smile spread across his face. He excused himself from a group of executives and made his way toward her. "Emma," he said, eyes drifting over her. "You certainly know how to make an impression." She ignored the implication and returned a polite smile, looking sharp yourself. Daniel offered her a glass of champagne, which she accepted reluctantly. "Tonight is about presence," he said, lowering his voice slightly. "Connections aren't just built in boardrooms." Emma took a sip, watching as Daniel introduced her to high-profile clients and senior executives. He was right. The evening was more than a social event. It was an unspoken arena of power, where deals were forged over laughter and well-placed touches on the arm. As the night wore on, Daniel's proximity became more intentional. A hand resting on the small of her back as he guided her through the crowd. A lingering glance, a comment spoken just low enough for her alone. "Come with me," he murmured at one point. Emma hesitated but followed him through a set of ornate doors leading to a private balcony. The night air was cool against her skin, a contrast to the warmth building inside her. Daniel leaned against the railing, studying her. "You have potential, Emma. Real leadership material." She met his gaze. "I appreciate that." His smirk returned. "I don't think you understand. Talent only takes you so far. The real decisions happen outside the office." Emma's pulse quickened. "And what exactly does that mean?" Daniel stepped closer, the space between them shrinking. "It means aligning yourself with the right people." He ran a finger lightly along the rim of his glass. "I could help you get where you want to be. But loyalty is a two-way street." She should have walked away. Should have told him she wasn't that kind of woman. But the words never came. Instead, she let the silence stretch, knowing that her answer, her real answer, was already understood. Daniel smiled, satisfaction flickering in his eyes. "I knew you were ambitious." Emma exhaled slowly, her grip tightening around the stem of her glass. She had taken the first step. There was no turning back now. Emma barely recognized herself anymore. The transformation had been gradual, a series of small concessions that felt insignificant in the moment. A late-night drink after meetings. A lingering touch on the arm. A private dinner under the guise of strategy discussions. Each choice had felt rational, even necessary, until they weren't. Now, as she stood outside Daniel's hotel suite, heart hammering against her ribs, she realized she had reached the point of no return. The door opened before she could knock. Daniel leaned against the frame, his shirt unbuttoned at the collar, a knowing smirk playing at his lips. "Emma," he said, stepping aside. "Come in." Her body moved before her mind could protest. The door clicked shut behind her, sealing her inside a world she had once promised herself she would never enter. It started with a drink. Daniel poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handing one to her before settling onto the leather sofa. Emma hesitated, then took a slow sip, letting the burn distract her from the weight of what was about to happen. "This is the part where you start overthinking," Daniel murmured, watching her closely. Emma exhaled. He reached over, taking the glass from her hand and setting it aside. "Don't," he said simply. Then his lips were on hers. It wasn't soft. It wasn't hesitant. It was a claim, a confirmation of what had been building between them for weeks. Emma let herself sink into it, let herself pretend, if only for this moment, that she wasn't a married woman, that she wasn't making a choice she could never take back. The guilt didn't hit until afterward. She lay in tangled sheets, staring at the ceiling as Daniel traced lazy patterns along her arm. The room smelled of expensive cologne and regret. "You're thinking again," he murmured. Emma swallowed. "This doesn't change anything." Daniel chuckled, rolling onto his side to face her. "It changes everything." She turned away. "I should go." He caught her wrist before she could move. "Relax, Emma. No one's keeping score." That was easy for him to say. She pulled away, gathering her clothes in silence. The woman in the mirror looked the same, but something fundamental had shifted. As she slipped out of the hotel room and into the night, a cold realization settled over her. She had crossed a line, and there was no undoing it.